How can you create a small army of tiny plates? What about a bespoke miniature wall collection? Today, we tackle tiny plates. Paper is a common mini plate material, but it's not the strongest. Clay is also good for plates, but what if there's something simpler? I'm buttoning a sweater when I realize what might work. Buttons, specifically fabric-covered buttons, which you can get as kits. This metal back looks a lot like a mini plate, but could you get it without the loop? Turns out, not only can you get plain backs, you can get them in bulk and in multiple tiny sizes, perfect for a tiny custom plate collection. The right shape and size, durable yet thin, and at around 17 cents a plate, low cost. These check all the boxes. You'll get the whole button cover set, but you only need the backs. I'm showing you this next part in real time, so you can see just how effortlessly these plates take shape. With flat nose pliers, I gently crimp and coax around the rim of the aluminum back, all the way around. This inset video provides a side view of the plate as I persuade the metal edges up and out. See those delicate teeth marks? Most of them will disappear in the steps that follow. But any marks that remain will lend a charmingly rustic wabi-sabi effect, like subtle chips in vintage pottery. And there it is. In mere seconds, we have a plate. Here's a before and after look at the button backs in 2 sizes, now convincingly plate-like. For the smallest plate sizes, I use the button backs just as they are. Now we have our little plates, but they're still just plain metal. They need a personal touch to become something special. White miniature primer will prepare them for coloring. I gather the army and head outside to prime them. The force of the paint puffing out of the can scatters the tiny discs in all directions, with all the subtlety of a sneeze. A bit of poster tack on a pristine paint stick solves the scattering and offers the opportunity to wipe away forensic evidence, with alcohol and a cotton swab. And now they're ready for a gentle mist of primer. Little puffs of aerosol roll like fog over a forest. Once the fronts are dry, I flip the plates over. I prime the backsides pasty white and set them out to dry. And now we decorate. While miniature painting is relaxing to many, each stroke requires a delicate touch and somewhat intense concentration. If the paint is too thick or layered, your plate might be lumpy. Brush strokes will look very out of scale for our tiny plates. If only we could draw the designs. Enter acrylic paint markers. The tips come in a variety of sizes. These 2 packs include coordinating colors. The thinner tip is more important for this project. I start with a solid coat of color on some of the plates. First the front, and then the back. Don't forget the edges. The marker layers dry quickly, and the thin washes look a lot like ceramic glaze. Here is where you start to play. Draw tiny leaves, flowers, or swirls. Decorate the borders, or the center, or both. Create a repeating pattern or a drawing. Use one color or several. For a darker base color, start with a white marker. Here I'm using a Posca paint marker. Draw and fill in all the areas that will have lighter colors. Then you simply color over the white layer to create a vivid design. Each color you add over the white will create new depth. The paint dries fast, and the layers are so thin you can paint over them several times without worrying about the paint getting thick. If you don't like the color or design, cover it with something new. Imperfections aren't just acceptable, they're encouraged. Every plate tells its own story, flaws and all. In addition to paint markers, you can use tiny nail stickers to accent your plates. Even if you use a sticker or water slide transfer, adding your own touch with acrylic markers will help make the plate your own. Peruse some life-size plates for ideas. It might help to eat first. I like to keep a few blank plates handy and doodle on them in free moments. like coloring in a book, only you end up with plates. Now we need to protect the paint and secure any stickers. A glossy ceramic-like finish would also be nice. We could use a spray varnish or a resin, but simplicity suits this project best. I like this Judykins diamond glaze. This brush on varnish dries quick, clear, and shiny. I wrangle the plates using the same paint stick poster tack technique to hold them steady. I coat the fronts twice, allowing the varnish to dry completely between the coats. Then flip the plates over to varnish the backs. As you finish, you lean back in your chair and admire your work. Perhaps now you imagine the different wall configurations and table settings you could create. Each shimmering plate holds a moment of calm, a memory of gentle hands shaping something small yet lasting. Outside, you imagine the world continues its hurried march. But here, inside, it's a slow, serene pace, and for a moment, everything feels just right. In this cozy world, you could stay forever, crafting tiny things with your hands, letting your worries drift away like clouds across the sky. You know you'll return to this peaceful place again, whenever you need to escape the bustle of everyday life.